Welcome to Gaming with MJ and Blue.
Let's talk gaming. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are a podcast all about gaming. So, what do we do regularly? Well, we talk about news on Minecraft. We talk about the continued progress of Hytale and all the stuff that they're doing there. But that's not all. Nope. We are also discussing every gaming topic that we personally can think of. Games we liked maybe in the past, games we like even today, PC, consoles, you name it. We could talk about potentially anything. So we're gonna get into it here in a second. So we usually start off by seeing what we've been up to this week. MJ, do you want to share what you've been up to this week?
Sure. I talked about crossover before. In fact, I mentioned it as a tool. So I went ahead and purchased another gear because I liked how it worked with. I finally got it working with Subnautica 2. So I have been gaming Subnautica 2 and enjoying it. It's been, locally on my own computer instead of doing the cloud gaming thing, which I don't like as much because when, pausing is a little bit weird. When you pause a game in the cloud service, you basically a timer kicks off, and you've got basically like 5 minutes that you can be away from the computer, or it knocks you off because you're using resources that are in the cloud, right? So I always like running things locally if I can. So I was able to. So now I'm doing that. And while I was at it, I was like, hey, how about this old game that I kind of want to bring up a little bit and play a little more? And it's called Hard Space Shipbreaker. Really like that game. I think I've told you about it.
I
But in
feel
any
like I've
case,
watched you play.
I have recorded it and put some YouTube videos up on
I
it.
think that might have been it,
So
yeah.
if you've ever looked at my YouTube, which is Lauren MJ, by the way, that's my username, you can go over there and look, and that's where I kept some of them. I uploaded some of them. It was a thing I was on a while back, but it worked too. So it was like, man, I've got the right settings dialed in. So that's usually what it's all about, is dialing in the correct settings. So I finally did that. Also, my little card pewter, they call it a card pewter, came in. And so it's a computer basically the size of a card. Of course, it's a little thicker than a card. But it has, it's all based on a processor called a ESP32. So if you Google that, it's basically like a tiny little processor that you can program to do things. So it's sort of like your Raspberry Pi type of thing, only it's not quite as, Raspberry Pis are kind of getting closer to a desktop computer, whereas these little things are staying very small. So some of the older, smaller Raspberry Pis are like this, but not the newer ones, which are more like desktop processors. But anyway, so I finally got it, and I've been playing with it. I was hacking my television because it has an IR port on it, and so it has a database of all the remotes on it, for being able to control computers or whatever, televisions, and so I was playing with that, and I actually got it to work. So that was kind of cool. So I can hack my own TV. I also bought the Meshtastic add-on, so that means my little Meshtastic node network that I talked about before. This can be a node on it, so I have a keyboard on it that I can actually do, and it plays Doom, which is the most important thing.
Right.
So, it's like a little hacking tool, so it's kind of neat. I could actually program the pins on it so that I could do specific things with it if I wanted. And then, I could do other things as well. There's nice people, of course, 3D printing, right? People have 3D printed cases for it, so I'm gonna have a little fun with that. I think we'll see. I've already got one printed, and it has an external monitor because the monitor on this is very tiny. So they make one which is a little bigger, and I bought it, but I haven't hooked it in yet. So I need the cables. So I don't have the cables yet. And then the 3D printed case holds that monitor on, so it kind of folds down, kind of like a little. So it's basically the size of a mint tin, Anyway, so that's I've been playing with that. I also resurrected my old tablet called a Remarkable. Have you heard of the Remarkable tablets?
That sounds very familiar. Yeah.
It's one of those tablets that's pretty expensive, and it uses e-ink.
Yes, yes, I have heard of those before, yep.
So I got that out and dusted it off, and I kinda let it go because I didn't continue the cloud service with it, and you kinda need the cloud service to be able to copy things over,
Mhm.
and I was just like, "Well, I don't wanna pay for that cloud service."
Yeah.
But I found a tool that, I was able to use to copy things over, and it worked really well. So, I'm like, "Well, let's see how this goes." Because the thing about I like the feel of the pencil on the paper.
Right,
Of
yeah.
course, it's e-paper, right?
Mhm.
But it feels the most closest to a pencil on real paper. So that's the reason I liked that tablet. So I'm giving it another shot, just pulling it out of the drawer and seeing if I can get it back in use. So that's what I've done this week. How about you?
All right. Well, with me, well, first off, me and Vunder did live stream this past Monday. We live streamed our Minecraft Cobblemon series, but we were having a little bit of issues. We had some technical difficulties, so it made the beginning pretty slow to take off. But we ended up kind of working things out for the most part. We were getting some lag. I don't really know exactly what it was. I was testing out a couple things. I'm wondering if that was why I was getting lag. I've adjusted some settings since, and I'm hoping, and I'm not going to do the things I was doing before. So I'm hoping that that will maybe clear up some of those issues that I was having.
You're playing
Um,
locally, right? Like between the two of you in the room.
we're playing between the two of us, yes, but we're
So one of
playing.
you had a server.
Well, that's the thing is we're playing off of my server computer. So
Oh,
I have a secondary computer, and that's my server computer. So we're connected to
hmm.
that, playing off of that.
And you were wired in like Ethernet.
Yeah, both of our main all of our computers are wired in. Yeah. Yep.
That should reduce lag.
Yeah. I don't really. I'm thinking it was the other things I was doing. I have a feeling. I think it was just the stream. I don't think it was the
Hmm,
game so much itself.
hmm.
So I was playing around with some settings. We'll see if we get a chance. We're gonna try to keep up with our Mondays as best we can, just playing for like an hour or two,
I understand.
and
Yeah.
we'll see if it worked itself out or not.
And
But
Cobblemon, just a reminder, is
mhm.
the Pokemon version of Minecraft.
Yes, yep, that's the big the nice new mod that does all the Pokemon stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been fun to get into it. But we did a little exploring once we got everything sort of ironed out, at least to a degree, and that's Vunder's favorite thing to do is to explore around in Minecraft.
Yeah.
So and we added a few things which makes it a little more interesting. But so we went into a cave, and I continued to die 3 times from spiders. Those stupid things would not leave me alone. I tried to run back, get my stuff, killed me again, run back, get my stuff, killed me again, and eventually it just all despawned and I lost everything.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a bummer. Vunder tried to get to it to help, but, it was too late. That's that's how things go in Minecraft. Just, every once in a while until you get more kitted out. I am by no means a great gamer, so yeah, if you wanna see someone play terribly, you just tune in sometimes. So
Oh, you want to
I
see playing terribly? I tried Hollow Knight.
oh, you tried it out, huh?
I tried it out. Yeah.
I gotta say, it's a you
I,
got it's tough,
I
yeah.
couldn't get, I could not get the jump timing correct,
Yeah.
no matter how much I've tried. I mean, I gave it a pretty good try.
Mhm. You're playing, probably keyboard and mouse, right?
Yeah.
I assume. I think that's one of those games that was designed with controller in mind. That's how I was playing it.
Hmm.
And I think it does in one it's one of those instances where controller is a little bit better, than mouse and keyboard. That doesn't happen very often, but when a game is specifically designed for that, it tends to, at least in my opinion. I realize some people are just good at anything and they can, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I can use keyboard and mouse
Yeah.
and do amazing, but
I'm not a platformer guy, so
yeah, yeah.
I didn't expect a whole lot out of it. I was just
Mhm.
like, "Hey, that's that one that he's talked about," and so I tried it, and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm done. I'm no good at these, and forget it."
Well, I give you credit for trying it.
Thank you.
So I also I continued on with some of my 3D printing this week, working on a single filament spool holder for my multi-board wall. So I was able to take uh, the standard clip in that they make, and I was able to alter it to include a nice single thing. It came out really good. I was happy with it. But yeah, I think that was in general what I was up to this week. I didn't get to do a lot more of other gaming. Just had a lot going on this week. But uh, yeah, anyway, that's how it goes. All right, what do you think, MJ? Back into the news section, shall we?
Sure, you want to do Minecraft or Hytale?
How about we trade off? I did Hytale last week. Why don't you do Hytale this week, and I'll do Minecraft this week.
Okay, can you go first?
Sure, because Minecraft's got quite a bit to it this past week. So, looking into Minecraft, first off, we have the 26.2. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. 26.2 pre-release 4. So we're on pre-release 4. We can expect this Minecraft 26.2 to come out to full release within the next couple weeks. But they're still tweaking a few things. Just looking at some of their news articles and information. So first off, they're having issues with particles being a little bit overwhelming. Um, it would actually select randomly particles to render or not to render when there was way too many in on the screen. So you could really see it when there was a large number of geysers. So again, this is in reference to the new geysers that they've added to the game. So they've worked that out of the system. So now that it's a little bit smoother now, and they don't the particles aren't getting cut off and issues with the rendering of it. They've adjusted the sulfur cube mob again. This time they made it so that the sulfur cube will be knocked back farther as the knockback enchantment level increases. So I guess that wasn't quite up to par yet, but now if you have a higher level knockback, it'll scale when you're hitting a sulfur cube. So that'll be good. Different. It'll add a good variation for mini games when somebody wants to maybe have something specific set up distance wise. I'm thinking it made me think of golfing. They kind of hinted towards that when they first announced the sulfur cube mob and what it does. But you can create your I'm imagining some creators taking swords with specific knockback levels and creating a new texture for them that looks like actual golf clubs. Then you just swing them and hit the the cube. It's just an idea, but I thought that would be kind of funny. Just have to put on specific things.
Yeah.
And another issue that they were having is that the Ender Dragon could be affected by the geyser when you're doing the dragon battle. So they kind of showed this off. If you have a bunch of geysers going up on top of the Ender Dragon um, platform where he lands, it'll actually when you try to defeat him, it'll actually prevent you from actually being able to fully 100% defeat him. He'll just fly around above it, even though he's at 0 health, because he can't go anywhere because of the geysers. So
Oh.
it was kind of crazy. I was watching how it was working. So they've worked that out now. The Ender Dragon is not affected by geysers anymore. So you can't cheese the Ender Dragon in any kind of weird way
Oh, that
now.
was an easy fix. Come on.
Yeah. They just had to add a tag, I think, to
Guess
his
so. Yeah.
data. Yeah.
Oh, they're just
Uh,
not going to interact. Okay,
yeah.
just float through him. You're like, no big deal. Just turn
Let's
clipping off. All right.
As far as UI, they said the multiplayer options screen has been renamed back to open to LAN. and they fixed an issue where Realm's configuration screen could fail to open. Uh,
Wonder why they did the back to the original on the land thing.
I'm honestly not sure. I'm sure there's some information somewhere on why, but
I mean, it made more sense when they changed
it,
it.
with what they're going for, yeah, multiplayer seemed like it made more sense. But maybe I mean I'm not seeing I haven't jumped into any of these, so I can't give a straight idea of why that's an issue.
Hmm.
Let's see here. Says open to land screens as opposed to world options. The host of a world can configure the game mode and allow command values for other players in the world separate from themselves. These buttons are available under settings for other players header. So they're just trying to iron out the details to get that whole multiplayer thing working, and I can't wait to see how it works when it's fully released and they've worked out all these kinks and what it looks like. I do look forward to seeing that. I love the idea of being able to jump in on someone else's world if we wanted to. But that's not all with Minecraft news. I'm giving MJ plenty of time to get himself familiarized with Hytale here.
I'm good.
uh, so TwitchCon obviously happened, and they had a lot going on for that. So for first off, just we're going to try to shoot through these somewhat quick. But we they talked about the chaos cube and the cave biomes, the new sulfur cave mobs, sorry. Um, and that they highlighted a lot about the TNT and being able to lob those guys around. So it's going to be an interesting, needless to say, update in as far as that stuff's concerned. I'm very curious to see the amount of mini games that are going to be coming out. And then they started showing like what they're working on as far as the next drop. So drop number 3 of the year 2026, and they showed off a new forest biome that they're adding to the game, and it looks beautiful. It's almost like a fall like biome. So you have leaf colors that are red and orange and yellow. The wood is like it's a nice type of, I think I'd call it like a grayish color. It's normal, like wood is kind of around those color hues, so it makes sense that they're going through that. Uh, but let me see here. What was it called? It was called the Dappled Forest. So that was pretty cool. They're poplar trees, warm gray poplar wood. I like it. It looks beautiful, and these leaves are not just biome affected leaves. We see that a lot. Like the coloration of leaves change depending on what biome you're in. And then of course they have their base color, and then the biome has an effect on them. But the leaves are actually that color. So that's going to be nice to have a variation on colored leaves that we didn't have before. So that's going to be cool. I look forward to seeing some more on that in an upcoming update. Minecraft Dungeons 2 was talked about a lot, uh, which looks interesting. To me, it looks like they're in Dungeons 2, they're hinting towards a use case for the Warden's portal. And I'm actually very curious to see where that's going to go, because having a warden, that portal there where the wardens, traditionally is, uh, it's been getting on people's minds like crazy. So in Dungeons 2, it looks like they're highlighting that area and that portal specifically. So if we see something done in Dungeons, maybe we're going to see some transfer over to the actual official full on Minecraft game. I'm hoping so, because potentially another dimension in Minecraft is always a little bit exciting. Granted, I think I would prefer them to update the end dimension first, but a new dimension would still be very, very cool.
Or
Um,
maybe this is the new end dimension.
mm, hmm, that
In
would
other
be
words,
interesting.
maybe those things take you there now.
Hmm. I see a lot of people would be upset with getting rid of the, old
Yeah,
way of doing it. Your cat is very excited.
she's just she's just sitting here talking.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, keeping on with all this, we kinda mentioned it last week, but, they talked about the Minecraft movie, another thing that should be pretty interesting. Um, yeah, Minecraft Live is always an interesting time because they're always showcasing things and, showing what has been and what's going to be, and I definitely look forward to this update coming and then getting more information on these next updates. So sorry, that was a super long, but there was a lot going on with Minecraft.
My
So
favorite thing my favorite
yeah,
thing is that we didn't have to stop and have a user vote on which one we want.
yeah, we are past that now. Yeah,
Please, please, and thank you.
just give us stuff that you're making. That's
Just
fine.
make stuff,
Yeah.
okay?
All right, MJ, you want to hit Hightail now? I don't think there's as much.
Well, it's just about as big, almost, but
Oh, really?
I'll try to hit some highlights. So there's been a whole this is we're still talking about the pre-release update 2 part 2. So, it's not an official release yet, of course.
You mean update 6, part 2?
Update 6, I'm sorry. What did I
No,
say?
you're fine. Yeah. You said update 2, part 2.
Oh, update 6 part 2. So this is on June 4th. So there's been combat NPC items and equipment. So there's been some changes there. Looks like some new death visual effects. So now your NPCs could be like a little randomized. They
Mhm.
could show up with different effects. That's good. So hostile mobs, it's good to see that they get now a little bit of change. Get a little variety. Variety's good. Plus they sound a little smarter. So hopefully they're putting in a little bit of, I don't want to call it AI because that's not AI, but
Mhm.
how they go through their how they go through their decisions of how they do things. It
Right,
sounds like
right.
there's an update there, so I'll just leave that. I don't. It doesn't say that, but I'm kind of reading between the lines there.
Mhm.
So there's been some world and block updates. Added white noise density, transparent material provider. So this sounds like they're really dialing in what noise is going to be, like being able to for noise to bounce off the things that are around it. And I'm looking forward to that because that's going to be incredible. To go through a cave and start hearing an echo, but
Mhm.
yet hear, like say there's a bat in the cave. Well, the the bat noise would be an echo, would have an echo to it. Instead of just hearing a bat noise, it's now a bat noise, but that bat noise is dependent on what's around you. So are you in a concave area where noise would be bouncing back and forth and come back at you? Well, then that sounds like that would do it.
Hmm.
So there's explosive blocks now, or there's going to be a component at least, explosive block component. Modding and creative new tools, they've added that. They've added some there. So reworking what they call soft collision radius. So I never noticed different collisions, but I guess there's going to be different kinds of interactions between blocks and things like that. So there's now a soft collision. Like, okay. And here is what's cool. This is what probably the coolest thing is this audio. So back to the audio a little bit.
Mhm.
And it even says here, when multiple sounds play at once, the game needs to decide which sounds to turn on or turn down so they don't overlap and fight in your ear. So the new system allows us to have better control over how and when sounds duck and quickly fade out.
Hmm.
So that to me is is epic because
The
that's where it's gonna make a really immersion.
Mhm.
Right? You're going to be able to like open the door to a cottage, walk in, you close the door. The door sounds different now because you're inside the cottage than you were outside the cottage. You know what I mean? So you're
Mhm.
opening the
Yeah.
door, creak, and then you walk inside. Even your footsteps sound different. And then the door closes behind you. It's going to sound different. Won't
Yeah,
that be cool?
that's gonna be good, yeah. You need stuff like that to make your world actually feel
None of that happens in Minecraft.
good.
Not that I'm comparing. I'm just saying, you know, if you look at Minecraft, they don't do that, right? And so that's what's going to be different
Yeah.
is that you're going to feel. like you're just walked into a cottage, right?
I think the only thing Minecraft has done, MJ, is they have made it so there is different sounds depending on what blocks you're stepping on.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did change that, but it doesn't sound as in depth as what you're describing here.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Is that they're about to really overhaul this. Um, and wow, I mean, that will help with immersion so much. Because I have played games. Oh, would y'all quit it? Stop, stop.
Those cats.
Yeah, they take now to fight. There's a couple other things which I kind of look as quality of life things. Apparently, every time you did a map teleportation, you were always facing north.
Hmm.
So that's gonna quit now. So good,
It's
I
going to
guess.
be dependent on what will the way you're facing when you teleport.
I guess. I
Um,
never noticed. I guess because you're if you're looking at the map, you're kind of looking down at a map,
mhm.
right? So I never really noticed. I don't
Hmm.
know. I guess it's not gonna break my immersion to just always face north, but I guess if
Right.
it's livestock do not produce properly, well, now they will. Okay, good. World and block fixes. That's where the facing north. Uh, Anything else there? No. Okay. So creative modding and plugin fixes. There's something in here. Oh yeah, yeah. So anytime you have plugins or mods, there's always versioning issues, right? Like you can't.
Mhm.
You have to have. You got to think about, is that a client mod or is it a server mod? And if it's a server mod, well, what version is your server? And what version is the mod? Like, how will it work? Will it be compatible? Does it go backwards? Is it backwards compatible, or is it forward compatible? Who knows? So can you write a server? Or can you make a server where if you put something and make it available to a mod to use, then it will always work? Or could
Hmm.
you someday in the future knock that off and say that won't work anymore? And so now if you load that mob, it breaks it. It breaks that mod and that mod no longer works. So to me, they're getting where they're trying to work through those issues, because they're talking about the versioning here. It fixed the mod manager warning that read targets 0.51, but the game version is currently 0.51. So, I guess I hope they work that out. I hope they do more of that. Like, get that fixed. Be able to fix mod versioning. I mean, that would be beautiful.
Mhm.
So, what else? Let's skip through that. UI and display fixes.
Mhm.
Server addresses are now hidden by default. I don't know if I like that. It is nice to be able to see the server address. I guess that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to people, but I'm a network guy, so if I see the server address, it would make more sense to me.
Mhm.
But I get it. People don't want to look at IP addresses, right?
Right, right, right.
Fix the full screen toggle loop with F11. Cool. Okay. Fix the F keys being not usable while the UIs were open in game, such as inventory or crafting. Well, that kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
Stability and performance. Yay. Fix some
Important.
server crashes, fix some memory leaks. You go, guys. Just constantly do that. That's wonderful.
That
I mean,
is needed.
I have found the server like crashed and no reason.
Mm.
So I'm like, well, I guess that was a bug. All right. I think that's it.
Alright. You're right, there was quite a bit there. I didn't really look into it as much or as closely, but there's a lot
I
of
jumped around a lot.
yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot
I,
more than what you just mentioned
I
too.
read this whole thing. That would be our whole podcast.
Yeah, that'd be crazy, yeah. Then trying to explain what it means and all that.
I like the tweak. I like the things I like. So that's what I
Yeah.
did.
That's good to emphasize them. And if people really want to see the full list, just check them out at their website. They have Hytale.com. They have their news section. And that's where all their blog posts are. So feel free to jump into those if you want more in-depth things. Same things with the Minecraft updates. Oh, MJ, I did remember something that wasn't included in the articles for Minecraft. I don't know if you saw this, but in one of the upcoming updates. I don't know if it's this next one or if the one that's coming up or the next one, but they are adding stairs and slabs that are, a part of wool blocks. So all of your wool
Yeah.
blocks are now gonna have slabs and stairs.
See, I the thing about that is, when you walk over wool,
Mhm.
you don't make any sound.
Yeah.
So that's probably has something to do with maybe the warden?
I was thinking something similar. There might be that might be part of why it's there,
That's what I
and,
was thinking. Yeah.
Dungeons is highlighting the deep dark with where the warden is, so is there maybe a link like, "Hey, you guys are gonna wanna have more options for wool blocks." All I know is people have been wanting wool slabs and wool stairs forever for building purposes. It'll be interesting to see if there's more to it than that. Alright.
I would like concrete, though, gotta say.
You know what? I think they are some people were talking about that too. The only issue of concrete is because it's literally such a solid color with no texture to it. It's a little bit harder to build with, from what I understood.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I still think it'd be a good idea to
Yeah, you
have.
wouldn't be able to tell if it was, like, far away, I guess you wouldn't be able to tell if it was a stair or a block.
Mhm. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't either.
I guess I could live
It's
without it.
cool. Either way, they still may add it eventually. All right, so now we're going to get into kind of our general news discussions. First off, we're going to talk about something a little bit more in depth, and then we're going to switch into some tidbits of the week. Uh, and those are just a couple quick fire, just general news items. So, first off, Summer Game Fest 2026 just happened. Now, that was gaming's biggest week of the year. MJ, did you by any chance see anything from Game Fest? It's not something I've really paid attention to in the
I did
past.
not.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, no, it's fine. I kind of watched a little bit here and there. Um, but just to give people a general idea, if you're like me and you've never really paid that close attention, but maybe you find this stuff interesting. Some highlights included some big gaming names returning, like Crazy Taxi. That was a classic arcade style game. That's coming back. They're doing a new game there. The Halo series is coming back. The Tomb Raider series is coming back. Ace Combat and Final Fantasy. They're finishing the 3-part series of the Final Fantasy VII remake, and that's just hitting some of the big ones. There's a lot more to it, but I know for me, I thought I'd share a few highlights that I found or that I saw that I'm personally looking forward to. The first one was they're actually making a brand new Spyro game. Now that's exciting for someone like me because Spyro was a game that was near and dear to my heart growing up. I loved playing Spyro. But this is called Spyro: A Realm Beyond. So I'm excited. I look forward to it. Those games are pretty cool. And it's not a remake. It's not a revamp of an old game. It's actually a new game in the series. So it's very exciting to me, and I'm happy to see that. Uh, maybe a couple other highlights that I saw. Now, MJ, I would recommend for you. You don't have any history with Spyro, so you don't have anything there. But there's some other games that they were showcasing that I personally thought looked really good. So if you get a chance to look at the trailer for them, I think you might find them interesting.
Okay.
They may not be your style of game. They may be. I To me they looked good and I would like to try them out. But there's a game that is called Forever Ago. It's coming out on October 8th of 2026. Now the premise is this basically is there's an old man and his dog there and they're following a journal. They're on an adventure following this journal. Uh, the trailer was really nice because it had good music. I actually really enjoyed listening to music while the game was going, and I'm like, okay, this is feels like an adventure. But it did give me hints or feelings that throughout the game, maybe near the end, it there's possibly might be a tearjerker a little bit. Maybe I don't know. But if you watch the trailer, you may see what I mean near the end of the trailer. It kind of feels that way. But honestly, I like games like that. I like games that evoke that kind of like connection or emotion that you
Mhm.
feel towards the characters. That's a To me, it's a good sign of a good game if you
Love
actually
that old
develop.
Volkswagen van for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's got a little old Volkswagen, man. There's another game I saw that I also thought was really good. This isn't gonna be a super long in-depth, but I thought I'd just share some of the highlights for me. Uh, this game was called Threads of Time. So what it is it's a 2.5D adventure game. So anybody who's wondering what's 2.5D, we've talked about it a little bit in the past, but a 2.5D game is 2D characters in a 3D world. That's the most basic explanation. And this game looked really interesting. The battle system that they have in it is turn based, kind of go harboring back to your classic games. And it's a pretty cool idea because the point of the game is traveling through time to all these different eras, obviously completing tasks and all that, like any normal RPG game you would do. But you collect, in a lot of these games, you're collecting party members, right? That's part of the game. You're pulling someone new into your group, and in this version of or in this type of game, you're actually pulling people from different time periods, and they're traveling with you through time, and they're your party members. And I thought that was a really cool idea. I love the style of game. I love the art style. I love that old school feel with a modern twist. To me, that is awesome. And these developers look like they really put a lot of love into the game. You could see a lot of um, kind of like a how much they care about some old games, and they kind of like a what do you call it, a love letter to those kinds of games. So I thought it was pretty awesome. So anyway, I recommend looking at those if anybody's interested in those styles. But I definitely was interested.
The Threads of Time gave me a Pokemon vibe.
Really, I didn't really get
Yeah,
Pokemon. I
I
got
don't know.
more
I don't know
from
why.
what do you remember the game? Oh, what was it called? It'll come back to me later. It's in my on my Steam wish list, I think. Uh, Sorry, I'm just gonna pull it up
It's definitely
real
one of
quick.
those story games where you're kinda, like, following a story,
Mhm.
so it probably
Oh,
guides you along.
yeah. And I think it's inspired partially by the Octopath Traveler series. I don't know if you remember that series that came out. They kind
Mhm.
of I feel like they were kind of the start of that 2D characters and 3D world environment.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought it was kinda cool.
Yeah, it has that look, that style. Yeah.
And I think the way they were describing it, you can affect time. So if you go back in time really far, you can affect things that happen in the future. Like they said, you can go back to prehistoric time, and guess what? You can make it so dinosaurs don't go extinct, and now they're they're in the future, even though they weren't there before. I thought that
Wh
was kind of neat.
what could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm gonna actually look this game up later and see if I can get it on one of my wish lists, and if it comes
There wa
out, I'll see if
there
I
was
can
that
order
sci-fi
some.
series where the world is overcrowding and they go back in time.
Oh,
What is the name of that?
yes. Oh, it was only like a one season
It was 1
fluke,
season,
right? Yeah.
and the reason was because it was so expensive to make, because
Mm,
the effects were amazing.
mhm.
But yeah, I can't remember it. But yeah, that came up to my mind as one of those
Mm,
one season things.
yeah. Makes
But
sense.
beautiful idea. Like, I wish we could do it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Alright, let's get into our tidbits, and MJ, you wanna cover our tidbits this week?
Yeah, these tidbits are news items, but we just don't talk about them a whole lot. They're just sort of just top of the iceberg. One is the Lego drama. Since we talked about it last time, I would say that there's been an update, and the update is that it kind of fizzled out. And
Mhm,
however, it kind of fizzled out in a funny way, because the owners of the franchise, the Bricks and Minifigs, basically backed off and said, "Okay, this media campaign's killing us. We'll
mhm,
go ahead and pay for it. We'll give the guy back his Legos, or however it worked out." So they're kind of like, let's come to the table, let's do this finally, as
Mhm.
opposed to just being very strong arm. However, there are a whole bunch of legal issues that have to be wrapped up because in the mess of all that, a bunch of legal things happened, including a person getting arrested, and actually several people getting arrested because of the insistence of the bricks and mortar people, minifigs, bricks. I keep saying bricks and mortar, bricks and minifigs, bricks and minifigs uh, franchise. You know, the guy that owns it, I guess, made such a stink about it and owns the police department up there in Utah in this little town. So he caused a lot of problems, and those problems are still there, right?
Mm.
That's why you have all these lawyers now. All these lawyers that run YouTube channels are now talking about it. So the story is just keeps going because the thing is you have to resolve all this, and of course there's obviously some corruption.
Mhm.
So woohoo, yeah, we'll see that how that drama works out. The second thing is that I noticed there was a Walmart computer for gaming, and I saw this and it caught my eye because Walmart's done this before.
Mhm.
But it was all but how much was it? Do you remember? Like how much was the price?
I wanna say, the old gaming computers that Walmart was doing was around 6 or $700, I
Yeah,
think, somewhere around there.
6. I think it's probably even less than that, probably 550,
M
600.
maybe, yeah.
Maybe you can catch it on sale too, I don't know. But in any case, basically you could expect B tier specs, right?
Mhm.
Not the great not we're not talking about an NVIDIA CPU, not like a NVIDIA 5070 of obviously, right?
Alright.
But something, like something interesting. And we're, probably a few generations old, possibly a
Mhm.
processor. And so they're doing it again. Only this time it's $800.
Mm.
So I think that was kind of yet another blip on the radar telling you the costs of things, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people look at grocery prices, right, as a kind of a cost of things, how costs of things have changed. And so they pick on Walmart and they say, "Hey, let's go to Walmart. Let's do some shopping." And turns out, oh, hey, that's a buck more than it was last time. That's $10 more than it was last time.
Mm.
So how does it go with gaming? Well, same thing. So instead now it's instead of $600, it's $800.
Mhm.
So the same kind of specs, B tier type stuff, but it's $200 more. So that tells you right there. Now this is a decent computer. It's not. I'm not knocking the computer. It's
Right.
just that if you're shopping for your gaming stuff at Walmart, that kind of says something about your story, right? Like most of us, we have a reason for choosing the hardware that we choose, right?
Mhm.
When we spec out our machine. Well, Walmart doesn't do that. Walmart's going to deal with whoever's cheapest that week and throw some stuff together. So anyway, I thought, it's a decent deal. So if you're still struggling with the prices of things going up and making a decent computer, you could usually come in under $1,000 and have a nice gaming computer, or
Mhm.
or or close, really close. Or maybe like taking something from your old system and moving it forward. Maybe not upgrading your GPU, but upgrading everything else.
Right.
And you could still come in at less than $1,000, but you can't do that anymore. Now it's you're pretty well off if you're coming in under 1,500.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more.
800 is not too bad considering how things are today. Do you know which model of ARC GPU they had?
I could look it up, but
Because I think there's the
can't remember.
A series and then the I think the B series is ARC's better gaming style GPU.
Let me see what it was.
I'm just curious, because that would be something I would be interested in finding out. I don't need a computer, so I'm not really interested in this, but
Oh,
and
yeah,
you're right, these games do tend to or these PCs do tend to be a few years old components instead of
it
something
is
newer.
the ARC B580.
The B580, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think that is one of the ARC's better GPUs. So
Yeah,
that might not be too bad.
that's not bad.
I would do your research, people. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's their better one.
But the processor is an i5
Mm,
14400F.
mhm, mm,
So decent. I'm not knocking that.
yeah,
That's good. That's You put this computer together and put it in front of a gamer, they're gonna be pretty happy,
yeah,
especially given today's prices. And
yeah.
of course, now can you still afford your games you're gonna buy?
Mm.
I don't know.
Oh, here's a question. How much RAM does it have, and what does it
Thir-
have?
32 gig of RAM and 1 terabyte
Whoa,
SSD. Not bad.
30
Not bad.
32 gigs is it DDR4 or
It
DDR5?
it doesn't say.
Ah,
It doesn't say.
yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like, that may be something they have to adjust.
Interesting.
You may crack that thing open, look at it, and you may be pretty shocked at what you got.
Yeah.
Of course, you may be pretty disappointed too. I'm not sure.
Spec-wise, that sounds surprisingly good for that price, but I could be way off.
I'm kind of waiting for the big gaming computer YouTubers, the Linus Tech Tips guys to buy
Mhm,
it and kind of crack it open and take a look at it. Maybe the Gamers Nexus people, just crack it open, take a look
mhm.
at it, and let's see what we got,
That would be cool.
and then we'll see, right?
Mm,
But yeah, it's there. They're still doing it. They're still doing a gaming computer. I mean, good on them. They're trying to help people out, right? Keep things affordable.
yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about getting my gamer gear from Walmart, but okay. Maybe you can just rub that off, just make sure that no one knows that. Hide the receipt. All right, I think that's all the tidbits.
Nice. Thank you for sharing those, MJ. All right, so now we get into our segment called Tools of the Week. Uh, I'll go quick first, MJ, just because mine is super quick. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail here. It is what it sounds like, is basically it. I'm talking about another Minecraft mod, and it's called a Zoomify. So for anybody who has ever used mods like Optifine or there's even others, sometimes they'll include a zoom option in the game or in that mod, and you traditionally you'd hit like the C key on your keyboard, and you would be able to zoom in to the area that you're looking at. This is a super nice, super helpful tool for builders. You could say that there is more in-game ways of doing it that we should be utilizing. I
Yeah, the
kind of agree. The
spyglass thing.
spyglass.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everyone hates the spyglass, though.
I my issue with that is it takes up a slot. Like, until
Yeah.
they really revamp inventory, that's another hot topic for Minecrafters. But until they actually do revamp the inventory in a way that makes it a little bit easier, I just don't see I just don't see the spyglass being as useful.
If it
I
came
feel
with a
like
slot on your head that you could put it in,
something like
that would be
that.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, if we had more slots for specific tools, on your person, that would be cool. But we're getting into some, theory crafting here, but that would be fun, but yeah, it's until we see otherwise, that ain't gonna happen. But that's really what I recommend if you do wanna be able to zoom in and you don't want the issues of having to a whole slot used up. I highly recommend, trying out Zoomify. It's a good mod. Alright, MJ, your turn. Tools of the week.
Now, I'm not 100% committed on this, so
Mhm.
take this with a big cattle block of salt.
Okay.
But there's a tool out there that I'm going to throw out, and it's called Cosmos. So it's cosmos.so is the website, and it bills itself as an idea engine.
Okay.
However, think it's been compared to um, Pinterest. You know how you look at Pinterest and you're like looking for ideas, and it shows you only pictures, right? So you get just a picture, just a visual search sort of thing. It's not like a Google where you're just getting a bunch of junk thrown at you, right? It's a visual search among people that have posted things or linked to things. So this isn't quite that, but think visual idea board, kind of like a Pinterest. So like say you were trying to do research and you just wanted to throw things out onto a virtual wall and you want to post those pictures, you want to post pictures up there, kind of like you're an investigator and you're linking the pieces of the crime together, drawing the putting the threads between the things, the different pieces of evidence that you've got on your little crime wall, right? So think of it like that, being able to like brainstorm something out, and also having the web there to help you. And here is the kicker. No, well, I won't say no AI, but it alerts you when it sees it. So in other words, you could click on something, like it might show you something on the internet, but it will, as you like hover over it, it'll say, Wait, this looks like AI."
Mm.
So it's kind of like, let's keep the inspiration real. Okay, let's keep it real and let's stick with art, like real art. But if you want to, there's AI, right? Like, so in other words, you just got to be knowledgeable about what you're clicking on, what you're
Mm.
pulling into your little board, right?
Mhm.
Now, I don't know about sharing it and all that kind of stuff. I haven't really looked too deep into it, but I thought that's an interesting take on like being able to. It's almost like a notebook. Like you're taking a notebook, throwing pictures in your notebook of here's what I want to kind of pursue as an idea, and yet it's sort of as powerful as Google.
Hmm.
I mean, kind of an interesting concept, right? But then you'd think, oh, okay, well, that's AI, right? No, it's pushing away from AI. Like it's basically saying no AI, or like you have to really you have to okay it, for it to be for you to accept AI. Anyway, something worth checking out. I don't know where they're going to go with this idea, but I thought it's at least interesting.
Yeah, does sound interesting.
So it's the goal is there's trying to make a place of inspiration on the internet. That's the tagline, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm, interesting.
I don't know. Check it out. We'll see. I think they're in Warsaw. So, good on you guys, you Poland people. Come up with some good ideas.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that appreciate it, that's for sure.
I guess I know a lot of people that do Pinterest and
Mm.
they use it as a idea board, kind of like just brainstorming real quick or whatever. And then they'll take all that and they'll save it and they'll say, okay, I'm going to pick this up later. And then they'll go there. Like when they're like they'll go to the store and say, okay, I'm ready to go buy this thing I'm trying to do, and they'll go to their Pinterest. They'll pull up their Pinterest app, and go to that board, and they'll start looking at it, and they'll start comparing what they're seeing in the store, and decide whether they're going to buy it or not. Because that's close, that's close. I can work with that. So it's kind of like, I guess it's for designers maybe, or for people that think in visual.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'll throw it out there as a tool. Maybe it's useful.
That you definitely gonna be useful to somebody out there. Cool. All right. You good, MJ? Well, your
I'm
tool?
good.
All right.
I'm good.
So we're gonna get into our next segment from the minds of MJ and Blue. So we're gonna open up this with a little caveat here. We are not pushing our opinions on anybody in reference to this topic. We know that it is a hot topic. We are just relating maybe our own personal feelings in relation to this. And we're just going to talk just very briefly about violence in video games. Now, why did this come up? Well, I just watched, skimmed through, I should say, the PlayStation's, their, what was it called? State of Play event. So that just came out, and for me, every single game, and granted, I don't think it's opinion. You can tell if something is violent or not. But every single big game that they highlighted was very violent. And what I mean by violent is full on what you would consider violence, very bloody and very gory. and this has actually become the normal thing for AAA studios these days, right? A lot of times that these are the kinds of games they want. I think the worst in to me for me the worst thing I saw was the Wolverine game. That was I couldn't even watch the trailer. I skipped right past it all because it was the bloodiest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, no, this is not right. I'm not watching this. So that was my feelings on it personally. We've For me, it's actually what's drawn me away from the PlayStation platform specifically because it seems like all of the big name games that they push are very much similar in this sense. They really push these types of games, maybe not quite to that extreme. Uh, so for me, that has kind of made me not really have as much of an interest in PlayStation. I know they have other games too. I'm not saying that, but that always seemed to be the highlight. So, and they're not the only platform that does that either, right? PlayStation isn't the only one that does that. But it did make it so that PC became more of what I went through too, because it seems like it highlighted a lot more variety of games, and it wasn't just these things. So I actually was happy to get into PC gaming, and I haven't been interested in PlayStation for a while, but this just kind of reignited why I personally kind of wanted to get away from that. So this isn't a soapbox. This isn't to push anybody in any direction. But for my personal feelings, is it's just gotten really rough these days, and that's how I've felt lately with video games. Is there's a fair amount of them that has continued to get more and more violent. But that's kind of where I wanted to just kind of start this very brief discussion. What about you, MJ? What did you think about this topic?
I have my own opinions, of course. Everybody's
Mhm,
got opinions. There. I think this informs you. It teaches you a lot about their audience or the audience they want to uh, build, right?
mhm,
The audience that they're playing to, you might say,
right.
right? So, what kind of audience will we like? Well, we're going to put out all this stuff. Here's all our new stuff, and we're going to throw it out there on the table. Well, who are they trying to attract?
Mhm,
I think it informs that
mm,
because that means that you're wanting who who is going to come to the table, who's got the money to come to the
mm,
table and pay for your games, and I'll throw out a guess: the 20-something male. Is that what you're going for? Is that who has money to be able to spend on the games that you're going to put out? Because you're going to ask a lot of money. We're up to $100, right? Or 60 to $100 now. We're in that realm. So, is that what you're doing? I don't know. It's just a question. I'm answering with a question, right? So, anyway,
yeah.
I did want to mention a couple of things in regard to this, and I'll throw this out there as information that kind of came up in my mind when you brought this topic up.
Mhm,
Because we talked about it before, because we always pre-talk about these things before we jump on the podcast. And so the things that popped up in my mind were the origins of Minecraft.
mhm,
Do you remember the origins of Minecraft? I remember it as it was Notch. Notch was a programmer. He programmed in Java, and he built Minecraft. And he had this voxel idea of how I'm going to start playing a game. I'm gonna put things in space, a virtual space, and we're gonna be
mhm,
able to put blocks on top of blocks and build things, sort of like you have an unlimited amount of Legos in a virtual world,
right.
right? So that's the idea. And so when people talk about Minecraft, well, they usually use words like that, right, to be able to talk about it. But what you may not know is that his intention was to make a first person shooter.
Really?
He did not go that path. And the reason he
Obviously.
did not go that path is because he put out his game as a beta, right? As a beta. Hey, I'm working on this project. What do you think? And he
Mhm,
just gave it out for free at the time. And so you could play it. And it was very basic. It wasn't the Minecraft you play now. It is not that. You would not recognize it. I mean, it's way low graphics. It's not what you're seeing now. However, he put it out. And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna make some awesome, you know, AAA type game out of this." That was his intention of a shooter. With all the gore and violence you just described.
Mm,
He stopped himself because he caught on YouTube someone playing his game, and it was a dad and a little boy,
mm,
and him and the little boy were having so much fun building stuff, and then he couldn't do it,
mm.
and that is why Minecraft is what it is today.
All thanks to that dad and kid.
Yeah, and the thing is he thought that was so sweet that was just touching him. Like I can't I can't break the game that they think this is
Mm,
because they think it's just a building game that you can play with your kids. And what is Minecraft? Minecraft is a building game you can play with your kids because people that are older enjoy it, people that are younger enjoy it.
yeah,
What if he had gone down the path of wanton violence like he intended? You wouldn't have
we would
Minecraft.
we would have lost something very special. Yeah.
You would have lost something very special. Minecraft would not exist. At least the Minecraft we know. It may be still called Minecraft. It may still have some elements of Minecraft, but it would not be what we play today.
Mm.
It would not be like that. And here's another thing. Another idea that came up, and this is in a similar vein. Um, have you gotten to play Subnautica 2?
Me, no, but I have seen plenty of it.
So you know that there's kind of a little bit of a not I wouldn't say a controversy because it's not a controversy, but it's something that people are talking about, and that is that the monsters are not killable.
Mhm.
Because you probably heard that. Like the
Yeah, I
big
think you've
monsters,
mentioned it. Yeah.
I've mentioned it. Yeah, um, there's a design reason, and the design reason is that we don't want you to come here and defeat these things.
Mhm.
That's not the point. The point is that we're trying to scare you. We want to make this area you're coming into uh, scary,
Mhm.
and for it to be a challenge to get through. Not you're going to go farm a bunch of big large squids. No, you're not going to do that. In fact, some of the smaller, more predatory items in the game that you do encounter a lot, they're not killable.
Hmm.
And your tool used to be a knife, right? Your number one tool used to be a knife. Now it's a multi tool.
Hmm.
They call it a multi tool. Now it has a knife on it. It has like a little knife blade on it, so you can actually like cut mushrooms off and stuff. But it's called a multi tool. It's not a knife. Now you can use that gun that they have, that thing that does that little it pushes sound waves off. I can't remember what you call it, but
Sonic
it
something or other, right?
Sonic, yeah, the Sonic blaster or whatever it is. So it can be used to push animals away, right? Like
Mhm.
push some of the larger items away, but it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt
Mhm.
them at all. So it just kind of gives them a push, like go away, go away. Kind of irritates them a little bit. So to me, what does that mean? Well, the devs came out and said it. we we wanted to create a world that you could play in that is not like that. That is not, hey, let's go out and kill everything. I thought, what an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Because everybody out there is wanting to kill these things.
Mhm.
And they're even asking for it. They're begging for it all the time. It's like Reddit post after Reddit post. Okay, well, how come I can't kill them with my knife? First of all,
Mhm.
it's not a knife; it's a multi-tool. And secondly, no, you can't kill it. You're not even hurting it. Oh well, it seems to take 50,000 hits before it's hurt. And it's like it's not hurt. You can do 50,000 hits; it's still not hurt. And so it's like they're not getting it. They're not getting the idea. The idea is that you're not playing it right.
Mhm.
That is not the way it's meant to be played.
Hmm.
And honestly, the devs have said finally, at least I've heard this. I don't know if it's true. I haven't heard it from a dev's mouth, but that was what Subnautica was supposed to be, the original. But they for some reason added the ability to damage the bigger predator
The
fish.
big leviathans.
Yeah. So you can damage them and you can get rid of them and you can kill them. You can use the stasis rifle, right? To kill a leviathan, right? If you hit him right, boy, you can do it. You can kill him. But the thing is like they only added that later because it was kind of going that way, but they
Mhm.
didn't want it. That wasn't part of the original design. So isn't that interesting?
Mm.
Like I'm just throwing that out as, are we the only ones that think this way? Are we the only ones that just don't want? They're getting tired of the violence. That it's just
Maybe.
old. Is it just old?
Maybe. Mm.
And I come from, just to be perfectly honest, I come from like my early days. I played a lot of first person shooters.
Mhm.
One of the big ones at the time was Quake.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So if you played Quake, you knew, you got your rocket launchers, you have your nail guns. It was all destruction and mayhem, and you got on servers, and every server was PvP. There was no such
Mhm.
thing as PvE. There was no such thing as adventure. You're doing this together. No such thing. You played. You killed each other from the first second that you got on the server. And the thing is I quit because I was done with it. It's just like you when you look at, so now you're looking at this PlayStation and like, do I ever want to have a PlayStation again? Will I
Yeah.
ever have a PlayStation again? Probably not, because that seems to be the design choices they're making.
Yeah.
Well, I did that with Quake. I looked at Quake and I said, well, there was a day that I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I exited that game and I deleted it and I have never put it back
Mhm.
ever. And you know what? Maybe it's because I'm not 12 anymore or 20 or whatever it was, but it's also a change in me because I was like, I'm not that person anymore.
Mm.
So I guess that still leaves the question hanging in the air of, what is PlayStation doing?
Yeah. And again, it's not just PlayStation, but it's just one thing that I've personally seen. But yeah, I know, man. Like I said, these are every gamer is different. Everybody feels the way they do about things. There's games that people like. There's in everybody's terminology. There's like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with that game. But some people are like, I can't stand that game. Other people are like, oh yeah, I love that game. I love how it plays. So in general, preferences are normal. But when you take topics like this, it's a little bit more in depth. There's a little bit more nuance to it, because you're touching on something a little bit more sensitive to a fair amount of people. So
Yeah,
at least you guys get an idea of how where me and MJ fall in that kind of feeling towards things.
yeah. I'd say
Uh,
I'd say it's pretty similar,
yeah, I'd say it's pretty close. Yeah,
but it's because we're old. No, I don't. I argue I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Uh, yeah, I don't think it's about age.
Yeah. Okay.
very, very good. Well, thank you, MJ, for
Let's see what the
a
commenters
really
think now.
good. Yeah, yeah, we can. I hope we didn't open up a can of worms, or we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. So next episode, with, we're gonna kind of have a little bit of a discussion, maybe about the generations of different gaming, uh, basically the different generations of people and how they gamed. That's kind of the idea for what we're going to discuss next. So we look forward to kind of going over that. MJ found a nice article that kind of goes through a lot of that information that he enjoyed. So
Yeah,
seemed like a good topic.
I'd call it the inspiration for the idea. So yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna we're gonna give it a
look,
shot.
yeah, we look forward to it.
Generational gaming, I guess, if you want to call it.
Yeah. All right. As far as concluding comments, just as a normal cleanup at the end of our episodes, you can always visit our website. Right now, it's mjnbluegaming.card.co. So if you go there, you'll check out some bios of me and MJ. You'll see links for our socials that we have there, as well as our email. So if you want to send an email, maybe something a little bit longer that is not available or you're able to do on any other platforms, you can do that. But of course, not just email. If you can even share this podcast with other people. That helps us to kind of get more views and kind of help us out a little bit. Uh, if you wanted to encourage your friends to watch and share their history of gaming with us, or share your history of gaming, that'd be awesome. And even if you wanted to maybe talk about our episode today, old episodes, whatever, we'd love to hear from you. Comments on YouTube are usually the easiest, I've noticed, for people to reach out. So please feel free to utilize that as well. If you feel like you've gotten anything out of this podcast, please consider maybe supporting us a little bit. We have a Buy Me a Coffee account, which is in our description, as well as a link on our website. And every little thing helps. Even if you're just sharing the podcast with other people, it all helps. So we again appreciate all the listeners out there, and we look forward to hearing from you. I have been Blue.
Hey, I have been MJ. Oh, quick shout out to Lou Stills, a commenter.
Oh
They
yeah.
commented on episode 18. It looks like they're kind of a musician. So thanks for the comment, and we've been replying back and forth. So anyway, just a quick
Yeah.
shout out. But I have been MJ.
Have a good one, everybody.